Good morning, everyone. I guess I didn't hit the go live button. Thanks for joining me here for Embroidery Garden's July demo. Happy to see you all here. We've got Dorothy, we've got Murtis, we've got Marsha, Diane, um, let's see, Angie, Vicky, Lorraine, Holly, Lisa's here. Thank you all for joining me. So while we got some more people rolling in, a couple things I want to talk to you about before we get started. On Thursday, I hosted the Fusion Fix free virtual embroidery event presented by Dime. If you aren't familiar with the Fusion Fix event, it talks all about using HTV, which is heat transfer vinyl, mixed in with embroidery. It's great for appliques and doing other things. Dime created a software called Cut and Stitch where you can easily create SVG files or turn these files into stitching. It's just really, really cool. Aine, who is the one of the Dime educators, did a fantastic job on the presentation. There are free shipping codes, free discount codes, etc. You can watch the replay through tomorrow night. Sunday night, it's going to come down first thing Monday morning. I just put the link in for the replay that you can watch. I'm going to watch it again today. It's kind of a little bit cloudy out, a little drizzly out, and it's going to be a perfect day to stay in my sewing room and rewatch this event. I see a lot more people rolling in. Thanks so much for joining me. The other thing coming up August 3rd, I am going to be with All Brands. I'll be with Barbara on the All Brands show, and I'm going to be doing a back to school design. It's going to be something a little bit new. So be sure to follow Embroidery Garden's Facebook page to be notified of that. All right, I see a lot more people rolling in. And remember, don't forget to type #garden only one time into the comments to be entered into the drawing for the $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. Okay, so what am I going to do today? Well, today I'm going to show something kind of a little bit different. I'm going to be showing my In the Hoop zipper bag set, but I'm also going to be showing you how to use these brand new fill and motif files from Cindy Hogan. Cindy Hogan, she's got 3 sets out, and I'm going to show them to you here in a bit. There is a summer 1, a summer 1 collection, a spring 1 collection, and a spring 2 collection. And this is sort of I'm not going to say a new technique, but it is going to be machine specific and software specific. These fills and motifs are going to work only in brother machines that have been upgraded to a Luminaire 3. So if you have a Luminaire 3 or one of the other Luminaires, the 1 or the 2, but have upgraded it to a 3, you're going to be able to load these fills onto your machine and use them in My Design Center, just like the other fills that are in My Design Center. You can also use the fills in Brothers PE Design 11, which is what I'm going to show you today, or you can use these fills in the Baby Lock equivalent machines, which would be the Solaris or the Solaris Vision. If you have one or two, the Solaris, it does need to be upgraded to the Vision, or you can use them in palette 11. So I see a lot of people putting in #garden. Linda says she's got my zippered bag set and she just needs to get Cindy's fills. Well, hold on a second before you do, because Cindy gave me some discount codes for you to use. All right, so first off, I've known Cindy for several years. Cindy Hogan is Brothers software specialist. She knows everything about all Brother software, the Brother machines, etc. She's the Brother brand ambassador. She's an educator. She has authored several books, workbooks for Brother software that she has for sale on her website. She's been on It's So Easy. She's very giving with her knowledge, willing to help, anyone to answer their questions, etc. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a link to Cindy's site. Her site is Cynthia's Embroideries. Let me just copy this link and post it into the chat here. And love Cindy Hogan. Yeah, Cindy is great. So this is Cindy's website that I just put into the chat. This is where you're going to find the fills and motifs that I'm going to be using today. So go ahead and let's write this down. I'm going to give you the codes that Cindy has given me to give to you. The decorative fills and motif collections, remember there are 3 of them on sale until July 25th. If you want 15% off of one single collection, use the code 15OFFREEN. If you want to buy all 3 collections, you must have all 3 in the cart and use the code REEN20. Make sure that you apply these codes before you check out. If you have any problems, you can always contact Cindy via her website. So I see here's another really nice comment from Linda. Everything she knows about her brother's software, she learned from Cindy Hogan. Cindy is the one to learn from. Cindy also has a Facebook group that's dedicated to education on brother sewing machines, embroidery machines, the scan and cut, PE design software, and BES software, basically anything brother. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab the link to Cindy's Facebook group. Oh, let me do something else and grab it here real quick. For whatever reason, I didn't have that down in my notes. I didn't copy something, so I'm going to go ahead and grab it right now. It's called the Education Connection. All right, Facebook wants you to sign in with your other profile. I was signed in with my business profile. Let me grab it here real quick. All right, I got it. So again, join Cindy's Facebook group. And you could ask any question about, brother software or the machines. Cindy is willing to help anyone. I just saw a question, will this work with the Stellaire? No, it will not. It has to be the latest version machine of Brother or Baby Lock, or the latest version of their software, which would be PE Design 11 or Palette 11. This is very machine software specific. I don't want to say really a new technique. You have been able to create your own, motifs and fills in the software using Stitch Creator. This is a little different, though, that you can use these and load them onto these machines. Again, it has to be the latest machine. And if you are familiar with My Design Center or IQ Designer, you would access those fills where you access all of the other decorative fills. Right, Patty, you can search for the Education Connection and get it. I did put the link in there. Okay, so what I'm going to focus on today is using my In the Hoop zippered bag set. I know many of you have it. It's one of my best sellers. It contains all 11 sizes of these zipper bags. The zipper bags come with a stipple file on them, and you can probably see the stippling on these, and they also come plain. So to use the fills and the motifs, you'd want to use the plain bags. Again, there are stipple and there are plain in the set. I did put the set on sale until July 25th. And let me grab that link for you. I wish the platform would kind of make it a little bit easier for you to grab links. And let me just hit that. I'm kind of reading some questions here. Patty has said, if you have PE design, it would have to be 11. You can use it in the software and send it to the Stellaire, just like any other design. She's literally using one of the fills on a design while I'm talking. Okay, you can do that, but you would have to have PE Design 11 to do it. If you have any questions about the fills, the motifs, and how to use them, really join Cindy's group, ask questions. Cindy also has a weekly Facebook Live show that she does. So you can go to Cynthia's Embroidery's Facebook page, follow her page, and you will be notified every week when she does a Facebook Live show where she has you send in questions, and she will actually sit there on the screen and go through these questions and show you in the software or on the machine how to do these things and answer your questions. So be sure to follow her Facebook page. It's Cynthia's Embroideries. Can you use this? We have a question. Yep, get that hashtag garden in. I saw Sharon is asking, can you use the stippling file on other projects? I'm not sure what you mean. If you're talking about the bags that I've just shown, they are built into the design. Let's see. Yeah, and Patty said that she had been using 11 for so long, version 11, that she forgot there are other versions out there. So to use the fills, how I'm going to show you, and I'm going to be doing it in the software, it does have to be 11, version 11. All right, here's another question. So can these only be used on Brother machines formats? So what I'm going to show you is, yeah, these fills and motifs can only be used in Brother and Baby Lock machines. They have to be the latest version machine, even if you've upgraded to the latest version, but it has to be the latest version machine and latest version software. When you purchase Cindy's fills and motifs, they are not PES files, HUS files, JEF files. They are not that. This is something totally different. All right, so I'm going to show you my samples that I've done. And I'm just going to keep this here. Let's put it up here so you can still see it, so you can get these codes for Cindy's website. Again, if you have questions about software, join Cindy's group and ask her. So these two fills are from Cindy's collection that this is the summer collection one. So this is a strawberry fill. Isn't that just adorable? And the thing about these fills is they can be resized and used how you need them to be. One thing that I want to talk about before I get into the actual demo is, see this line here, the straight line? That's built in on my bag designs. This straight line and this straight line above the zipper. So what I'm going to call the decorative stitch above the zipper and below the zipper, they are built in to the bag designs. What I also want you to notice on this bag are the edges. Notice that the fill, you cannot see where the fill stops, because I sized it so that the ends of the fill would get encased into the seam allowance. So it's also on the bottom and on the other side, because you're not going to want to see where the fill ends. Okay, you want it to be very nice, very professional looking when it's finished. So this is the strawberry fill from the summer collection one. And this is the sunglasses fill. Isn't that cute? So I used the sunglasses fill on the bottom here, did the exact same thing that I talked about, sizing it so that you can't see the ends of the fill. I sized it so they get encased in this seam. On this one, I also used one of the matching motif fills. So Cindy has her designs in a fill form and in a motif form that you can, add to other parts of a design if you want. You could use them separately, however you want. Today, what I'm going to be using is the fill called Under the Sea. I'm going to show it to you in just a second, and I'm going to use a matching motif here on the top. I'm also going to be using, I don't know if you can tell really, I'm going to be using Sew Any Shape foam in my bags. I really love that foam. I've started using it in a lot of the bags, and it's really going to make these fills stand out. I'm going to change my camera and see if maybe you can't see this a little bit better, how it really makes that fill stand out by using the foam. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at some of Cindy's collections that she's got. And I've got the pictures here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring them up. And so here is Spring Collection 1. And you can see there's some cute little bees. There's like bees in a grid form. There's bees in a stipple. Here are some little bunnies. They're standing and they're hopping. Some birds, some eggs with carrots, eggs by themselves, a couple of floral things. These are some tulips in a grid form and umbrellas opened and closed. Over here are the matching motifs. And you can see she's also adds in a few bonus motifs. So basically her sets have 10 decorative fills and 10 motifs. And she has included 3 bonus motifs in this set. So let's look at the other collection that she's got out. And it is Spring Collection 2. This one has more bees. These are really cute bees with hearts. She's got another flower in a grid, hopping bunnies, bees and butterflies. These carrots, I think, are adorable. Here's some more bees. Here are some eggs with, it looks like a paintbrush, another grid, some tulips and umbrellas and rain boots, her matching motifs and her bonus motifs. These are just so, so cute stitched out. And I'll show you the last collection that she has. And let me grab that photo. And it is the summer collection. And that's where I took the 2 files to make the 2 sample bags that I just showed. Here are anchors, flamingos with beach balls, a flamingo and a grid, the ladybugs with hearts. These are little martini glasses. These octopus are just adorable, I think. Here are palm trees. Here's the strawberry fill I used. Here's the sunglasses fill I used. And today I'm going to make a bag using this under the sea. It's got little fish, crab, and starfish. Here are the matching motifs and the bonus motifs that she's included. So those are the 3 sets. Remember to use the codes, and I'll show those codes again before we get done. So I want to make sure that I cover everything here. Now the fills can be used. They can be loaded onto the machine. Again, it has to be the latest, most recent version machine. And you're going to access them in My Design Center or IQ Designer, just like you would any other fills, so you can use them there. Okay, so again, I'm using for my samples, I'm using my In the Hoop zipper bag set and Cindy's fills. So let's see how we do this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be doing this in PE Design 11. And let me get this started here. And, let me know at the end if you have any questions. I've imported my 8x8 zipper bag into PE Design 11. You're going to notice when it comes in, it is oriented on its side. That's how all of the bags in the set are, even the square ones. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the entire design and I'm going to rotate it to the left. The reason I'm doing this is it's going to make it easier for me to see it and for me to show it to you, having it rotated. You're going to also notice that when you click on it, any part of it, it selects the entire design. When a designer creates a file and they convert it to different formats and save them, it locks the design. It creates it into just one big block. So in PE Design 11, if you go up to Stitches at the top, click on Divide by Color, it's going to separate the design into steps. So if I go over here on the left-hand side under Sewing Order, click on the first step, right-click, select it, you'll notice that it's only selected that step. This is going to be important when we go to reorder the design so that our fill and our motif stitch when they need to. Another thing that I want to do is down here, this little X in the design. The reason the X is there is explained in the instructions. You do not stitch it out, but I want to delete that X. And the reason I want to delete it is because when I put the fill in this area, the fill is going to go around whatever is in the area. So it's going to make a little, what I'll call a blob there that I don't want. So after I select it, I hit delete and it's gone. Okay, so to put our fill in, I'm going to come here to the top of the screen and click background fill. Opens up the background fill wizard. I'm going to click on the design where I want the fill to be, which is on the front of the bag under the zipper. Under fill type, make sure you have decorative fill checked and click next. It's going to pop in basically the first fill in the pattern that you have. To change that, you can click on the little folder. It's going to open up a window with all of your fills in it that came with PE Design 11, any fill that you added from an upgrade you may have purchased, etc. And this is where you're going to access the fills that you have purchased from Cindy. So I decided on this bag, I wanted to use the Under the Sea fill. So go ahead and select it. We'll look at Cindy's other fills closer in a little bit. It puts the fill into the bag. And you're going to notice that minimize feed is checked. We'll talk about that in just a second. Go ahead and click OK. And it puts the fill into the bag on the design space. On the right-hand side, if you click Sewing Attributes, we can now alter or edit the fill if we choose to. We can change the size of the fill. We can change the direction of the fill. We can shift it around. These are things that you can do or not do. It's really up to you. After playing with this, I decided that I wanted to increase the size of the fill. So I want to make sure that maintain aspect ratio is checked. And I decided to change it to 4.25. Why did I pick 4.25? I don't know. I was playing around and that's what I thought looked good to me for this size of bag. Again, if you wanted to change direction, you could do that. I'm not going to change the direction of this fill. So what we need to do now is make sure that our fill, that the ends of the fill are going to be hidden in the seam of the bag. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Now remember, I just talked about minimize feed. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So the blue lines are the fill. The red line is the edge of the bag, the seam that is going to stitch the bag together. And I'll zoom in a little bit more. And if you look closely, you're going to see with minimize feed checked, it puts a border around the fill. And we're going to be able to see that. If the bag was stitched together, you can see that that border is to the inside of the bag. So you'd be able to see it. I can take this node right here, stretch it out a little bit to put that border into the seam allowance. The real problem though is going to be up here when we move our fill to be underneath that decorative line. Remember I talked about that decorative line? So there would be the stitching from the border, then that decorative line over top, and that's just too much. You will, no matter what, when you're stitching, in the hoop designs, you have lots of layers. You're going to have, a minute amount of shifting. So I don't want to take the chance of that being seen. So that's why over here on the right-hand side, I like to uncheck minimize feed. Yes, it is going to create some jumps in the fill, but I don't mind that. So now we need to adjust this fill so that we don't see any of the ends. And let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at the fill, which again is the blue, you can see that the ends of the fill are to the inside of the line that stitches the bag together. So you would see every one of those little ends. So what I'm going to do is on the sides, I'm going to grab the center node right here, and I'm going to just pull it ever so slightly so that the ends of the fill, the blue lines, are to the outside of the bag. They're going to be in the seam allowance so we can't see them. So I'm going to go over to the left-hand side, grab that center node, and again, pull it ever so slightly so that those stitch lines are on the outside or in the seam allowance of the finished bag. Let's go down to the bottom, grab that center node, and again, make sure that that fill is in the seam allowance when the bag gets finished. Now we have to go up here to the top of the bag, and remember the black line here is that decorative line. And if you see the fill, it's probably a good 1/8 of an inch at least, not quite to that decorative line. So I'm going to take the center node again, and I'm going to make sure that it is centered in the black line. Let me zoom in so you can see that. Let me get that fill selected again. And you'll notice when I select it, you can see it looks like a white dashed line. Just make sure that it is in the center of that decorative stitch, which is the black line, and it's all going to be good. Now these adjustments that I just made, moving it out on the left, right, bottom, and getting it up to the fill up to that decorative line, these are really minute measurements. So it's not really distorting the fill any. Now what we need to do is create the motif that I have at the top of my bag above the zipper. So if I go into shapes, if I go into shapes, I'm going to pick the straight line. I'm going to change the line type to the motif stitch. I'm just going to put my mouse right here to the outside of the bag on the left-hand side, click, hold down the shift, go to the opposite side, and double click. And you can see it put in that first motif again. So to change this motif, let's make sure that it is selected. Go over here on the right-hand side, click this little folder, and it's going to open up all of the motifs that you have. Motifs that came with the program, motifs you might have created yourself, and this is where you're going to find the purchase motifs from Cindy's set after you've installed them. So I decided to use the starfish. So I'm just going to highlight it and click OK. Boom, there's the starfish. Over on the right-hand side again, you can make some edits if you want. Now, my starfish are too big. The red line here, again, is that decorative line that will stitch above the zipper. So my starfish are too tall. And if you notice, let me zoom in. My starfish are hanging outside of the bag. So over here on the right-hand side again, I am going to change some of the sizes here. I have maintain aspect ratio unchecked, and I'm going to make the length be 1.15 and the height be 0.98. I was playing around earlier. These are, the numbers that I liked. And again, these are very minute changes, so it's really not altering the shape or the look of the starfish. Now he's still kind of hanging outside of my bag. You can see it hanging out there. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to choose this node, and I'm going to move it in some. Let's zoom back out so we can see everything. Still a little bit too long because over here on the left-hand side, it's hanging out. That might be a little bit too short. Then I'm going to use my arrow keys in my keyboard, and I can move it over, get it centered. See how I like things. And if I want, I can move it up a little bit. And, keep playing with it until you have it how you like it. The last thing that I need to do is come over on the left-hand side under Sewing Order. And I need to select the fill and move it down so that it is after step 4. I need to select that starfish motif and move it up until it is, let's see, it needs to stitch after step 7. So now I've changed the order. I can take the design, go back to the home page, and send it directly to my Luminaire. Let's say now maybe, I don't know, maybe that was something that you, for whatever reason, can't accomplish. You can always quilt a piece of fabric first and use it instead of actually coming into the design and adding it into the design. So how would you do that? You can go up into Shapes, pick the square. I'm going to want to turn off the line. And under the fill, I'm going to want to make sure I have decorative fills chosen. So what you would do then is, hoop your batting, your fabric, and just quilt a piece of fabric to use in the bag. So you go to the instructions, see how big of a piece you need, and I'm just going to draw a square here. You're going to see how big of a piece you need and maybe add an inch all the way around, just so that, after it's quilted, you still have, enough fabric to use in the bag. So let's look at some of the other decorative fills in Cindy's collection, Summer Collection 1. Here are her anchors. These are really cute. I could see that on the front of a bag, and that would look really great. Again, if you want to go in and change the size, you could do that, the direction. You can play around with the fills however you want. To choose another one, just go back over here on the right-hand side, pick the folder, and let's go down and see what else she has. Oh, the octopus. I think these are adorable. And I'm just enlarging them a little bit so you can see it a little bit better on your screen. I thought with this, how cute would it be to add hot fix crystals, 2 little eyes on each one when it's finished. Maybe take a few and just place randomly on the waves. I think that would look adorable. Let's look at a couple more that are in this collection. This is the sunglasses that I used on the one bag that I showed. Again, change the size to whatever you want it to be, or leave it as it is. The sunglasses are really, really cute. I really like those. The strawberries. This is the fill that I used on that red bag that I showed. And again, each one of Cindy's collections, I think there's, about 10 fills, then the matching motifs, and I think some of the collections even have bonus motifs in them. Here are the palm trees. So you can quilt a piece of fabric and use it, in place of coming in and actually putting the fills and the motif into the design. So there are different ways you can use these fills and the motifs. So that's how easy it is. let's stitch out the bag so you can see how these fills stitch out. All right, so that's how easy it is to do that. I did see a few questions come in, so let me get back to those. And Debbie wants to know, are the sets sent to us in an email and then you download them? If you're talking about my In the Hoop bag set, they would be in your order history. You get an email, you can download off of that, or you can always go back to your order history on embroiderygarden.com and download them. Cindy's fills and motifs, I believe they are downloaded from her website, and she has videos on her website that show you how you take the fills and how you install them into PE Design 11, or how you install them directly onto the machine if you have one of the latest models of Brother or Baby Lock. So again, join her Facebook group. I posted that link earlier. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube, excuse me, if you click on the description under the video, all the links are there. When this is over, you can rewatch it. And when it gets posted on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page, you will see all of the links in that post. So there was another question. Ginger wants to know, what size is the strawberry bag? This is 8x8. I'm going to be using this size to do the Under the Sea. I'm actually going to stitch it out here in just a second. The source of the foam that I mentioned, let me see if I still have that link. It is Sew Any Shape foam. You can buy it now from embroiderygarden.com. I just posted the link for it. I thought I did, yeah. So you can get the foam that I'm going to use. I'm actually using it in the bag today, so you're going to see exactly how to use it. Let's see. I thought that there was another question. I think someone asked, whoops, I'm losing my comments here. Someone asked if you can rewatch this. Yes, it's on Embroidery Garden's YouTube channel. Be sure you subscribe. You'll get notices every time I go live, and it's still on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page. It will be posted there. I think I got all of the questions. Let me hide that. So let's get started stitching out the bag. I'm going to show you what you need. So again, I'm going to keep this here. These are the codes for Cindy's fills. Remember to use the codes. Let me grab my hoop and my little kit that I've already got cut out. So I'm going to be using, this is my lining fabric. I thought this was kind of cool. It looks to me like water. I'm using my Laser Beat Studio little tags. These are dry erase board on here. I marked all my pieces. This is going to be the front of my bag. I thought it looked kind of like Under the Sea. This is going to be the fabric that's under the zipper. Here's some of the foam I'm going to be using. And this piece, let me just show you this. This is going to go at the top of the bag. I thought it looked like sand. And so this is where the little starfish motif is going to go. So I've got my kit cut out. Keep all my pieces in order here. I've hooped. Let me put these over here. I have hooped a lightweight cutaway like the poly mesh type stabilizer. I did go ahead and stitch the zipper down already just to save a little bit of time. I'll tell you about that in just a second. And I am going to use one of my hoop and press pads. And I'll talk about hoop and press pads in just a second also. Let me just stick this under here for right now. So the first two steps of the design is what gets this zipper stitched down in place. Step number one, you stitch directly onto your stabilizer, and it makes a zipper placement. It's just two long parallel lines on the stabilizer. You put your zipper right side up in those parallel lines. The next step comes along and it actually stitches the zipper in place. You can see my stitching right here. So now my zipper is secure. It's not moving. It's not shifting. I do take a piece of tape and, excuse me, tape down that zipper pull so that it's not like flopping around. So the next step to get started, we're going to work on the back side of the hoop. Excuse me. And this is where hoop and press pads come into play. I'm going to take my hoop and turn it upside down on top of the hoop and press pad. And now I have support. Excuse me. I have support under my hoop so that I can work on the back side. I see Linda has asked, where do I get the zippers from? This one happened to come, it's Zipper by the Yard from Sally Tomato. So on the back of the hoop, I'm going to take my first piece of fabric. It's a lining fabric, and I'm going to make sure that it is right side down and place one long edge even with this line under the zipper. I'm going to take some tape and tape it in place. Now with the hoop and press pad underneath, I can press down really hard on my tape to make sure that it is secured. The next step is to go to the front side of the hoop and place my next piece of fabric, which will end up being the front of the bag underneath the zipper. And I'm going to put it right side down and line up the edge of the fabric with the bottom edge of the zipper on the front. I'm going to tape it in place again. And then the machine is going to stitch the next step, which will stitch a line here that attaches the lining fabric and this top fabric. So let's go to the machine. All right, so this step is going to stitch those fabrics to the zipper. This bag is going to take about 15 minutes to stitch out, and basically that is because of the fills. So let's go back to the table. And I don't need the tape on here, so I'm going to take it off. I'm going to be using my foam now. And I've been using this foam in a lot of my designs now. I just love it. So I'm going to take the edge of the foam, line it up with that seam that just stitched. I'm going to bring the fabric down over the top. And I got to make sure my iron is turned on over here. And what I'm going to do is bring this fabric down, this top fabric down. And at this point, it's a good idea to iron. So my hoop and press pad can also be used just as a little ironing pad. So I like to press this seam here when I fold the fabric down. And I'm just using one of these. This is a Cricut mini iron, and the only reason I'm using it, I normally would use my big iron. The only reason I'm using it is because I'm kind of in a tight, small little area right here. So it makes it easier. Now, when I use foam, I like to pin. So I'm going to pin, I'm pinning at the very bottom of the hoop, making sure the fabric is nice and tight. I'm just pinning through everything. The next step is going to come along, and it's going to base this fabric down in place on three sides. Lynn, the zipper I'm using in this bag today, it's a number 3. You could use a number 5. I have done demos on how to use a number 5 zipper in my bag designs. And so now this is just going to base this fabric down. I am going to watch the pins just to make sure they are not in the stitched line. Just want to make sure my pin wasn't in the way. So this is basically how you would stitch all of the bags from my zippered bag set. I see Linda says the hoop and press pads are a game changer. She got the set for her Destiny and Luminaire. They really do help, and I'm going to talk about those in just a second. So now the next step that's going to stitch is our motif. Is our fill. So I'm going to let it do that. Again, the fill and the motif are going to be like the longest steps in this entire design. So while we're that's stitching, let's talk about hoop and press pads. So let me grab my other pads. So this is the 8x8. There's a 5x7, a 6x10, 8x12. These are for basically brother baby like machines. You can buy them individually from embroiderygarden.com, or you can buy them bundled together in a set. This is the set, all 4 pads. Also have them for multi-needle machines. You get the 5x7, 8x8, and 8x12. And I just see that Cindy has joined us. This is Cindy Hogan, again, brother software specialist, the brand ambassador. Join her group. She's got all the answers to all the questions. And Cindy, there have been some questions coming in about, what machines can use these fills, and the software, etc. So if you see something, please jump in and answer the questions. And be sure that you join Cindy's Facebook group. Cindy, if you can grab the link again to your Facebook group, please post that. And we also have hoop and press pads for Bernina machines. And there are 3 in here. You have the 145 by 255, the 210 by 400, the 265 by 165. So you can get the hoop and press pads from embroiderygarden.com. And, I intended the hoop and press pads when I first developed them and had the idea for them was for pressing while doing in the hoop designs. Because when you do in the hoop designs, you got to work on the backside of the hoop quite a bit. And, if you were making a bag, just sewing it on a sewing machine, you would be pressing after every step. So that was kind of the thought behind hoop and press pads, so that you could press on the back side as well as the front side. Hoop and press pads are also great for doing appliques because you want to press and applique from the back side. They're great when you have to rip out stitches because you want to rip out stitches from the back side if you have to. And with that pad underneath, it's very easy, or it's easier, I'll say, to get stitches out. The hoop and press pads are also great just to have by your machine as a little press pad. Sharon is asking, can you use the software in your PE 800? Brother, PE Design 11, you can use it really with any machine because it's it exports files, PES, of course, HUS, all DST, a bunch of other formats. So if you have the software, version 11, you can use these fills, just like I showed you in the design, save it in your format and take it to your machine and stitch it out. All right, I'm just kind of, I get caught up in questions, so I kind of look at that, but I see Cindy is doing a great job of answering your questions. So if you have questions about these fills and motifs, go ahead and ask them, and Cindy, I will be taking care of you. I do want to show you those codes again. She put the decorative fills and motif collections on sale until July 25th. If you want one collection for 15% off, use the code 15OFFREEN. If you want to buy all 3 collections, and make sure all 3 are in your cart, and you'll get 20% off with the code REEN20. So be sure to grab those fills and the In the Hoop zippered bag set while it's on sale. And let's take a look at how the fill is stitching out. It looks really, really pretty. I think on this fill too, when it gets over to the part with the fish's eye, I think that would be really cute, maybe to add a hot fix crystal there, or again, as I said when I was doing the demo, to add like ones here and there on the waves. That would look adorable. Molly wants to know what size needle I'm using with the foam. I'm just using a 7511. You don't have to have a special needle to use with the foam. Elise loves this fish fill with the fabric. I thought the fabric looked like, water, but I didn't want it to be real distracting from the fill. And it'll be done with the fill soon, but like I said, the fill is what's taking more time. Joan, if you're not seeing Cindy and seeing her responses, you might have to come to Facebook to see those. Again, you can rewatch this demo on Embroidery Garden's Facebook page and Embroidery Garden's YouTube channel. And again, join Cindy's group. It's called the Education Connection. Just go to Facebook, search that, join her group, and watch her weekly lives. Like I said earlier, Cindy takes questions and she'll show you right there in real time, how to do whatever you're trying to do. And again, if you go to Cindy's website, cynthiasembroideries.com, she does have some videos on how you, after you've purchased the fills, to install them in your software, PE Design 11, or to install them on your machine. It's really, really simple to do. And Lori missed the code when she got her sets last week. If you, grab another one if you didn't get them all. Let me show you those codes one more time. So these are the codes on sale until the 25th. And the Embroidery Gardens In the Hoop zippered bag set is on sale until the 25th also. In Cindy's group too, a lot of people, have gotten these fills and they've been posting just some really, really beautiful projects. They're doing quilt squares and things with them. So, they're not just for bags or In the Hoop designs. Ginger loves that strawberry motif. That is one of my favorites. And, here it is. Show it again if you didn't see this before. And let me tell you something else. I think it was maybe, I'm trying to think. Well, we're already in July. I think it might have been April or May. Cindy was showing this fill on one of her lives. But what she did, and this was so cool, she took the fill and she actually showed the strawberry one. And she put a fill within the fill. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to Cindy's page, Cynthia's Embroideries, on Facebook, and you can see that she put I think it was the concentric circle, and she just put like a real light fill. It just she made it curve around the strawberry. So, so cool. So not only can you just use the fills, but you could add a fill inside of the fill. I think there's a picture on Cindy's group that Caroline, my friend Caroline, did, and she did a quilt square. She's going to be making some project with it, and it is just super, super cool. So there are many more things you can do with these fills. I'm just showing you one thing, how to use them in my bags, but you can do so many things with them. Let's see how the machine's doing. So it is almost done with this fill. I think this would have been nice too in a variegated thread, how I did with the sunglasses. All right, so now the next step is going to do that decorative line. Remember that decorative line I talked about at the top, and why it was important to take that fill and move that edge directly in the middle of that decorative line. So there's a decorative line. It's actually just a triple stitch line, but it is below the zipper, and there is one above the zipper in the zippered bag set. So after this now, we're going to be ready to move on with the design. Look how cute that is. Let's take a look at it on the table. Isn't that just adorable? Cute, cute, cute. So the next step to the design, and I got to grab my hoop and press pad again. I kind of made a big stack over here. I just think they're going to fall over. So I'm going to take my hoop and press pad because I'm going to work on the back side of the hoop. I just saw that Terry says it would make an adorable pillow front. That would be a great idea. Again, these fills are, you can use them for anything. I don't need this tape back here, so I'm going to take it off. The next step is to fold this fabric down, and this is an area where you'd want to press. So I'm going to grab my little iron. My hoop and press pad is underneath, so I'm able to press, and this allows your lining to lay really, really flat. So the inside of your bag is going to look great, just like the outside. I am going to tape this down here at the bottom. And we're going to move on to the next step, which is to take the next piece. This is actually piece number D in the design. I'm going to take the fabric and lay it right side down with one long edge, even now with the top edge of the zipper. Tape it in place. And again, with that hoop and press pad underneath there, I can tape it down really well. Doesn't matter what kind of tape that you use, but you have to be able to press it down well to adhere it. We're going to go to the front side of the hoop. I'm going to take these pins out down here just because I don't need them anymore. The next piece, and remember I was going to use like this brown that I thought kind of looked like sand. Right side down, line it up here with the top edge of the zipper. Tape it down. And the next step is going to come along and stitch that lining fabric on the back side and this fabric on the front side to the zipper. I want to make sure that everything is laying on the back side of the hoop like it should be. And stitch this next step. Sharon is asking if anyone has used a piece of fabric embroidered with a fill and then cut it to use it in the bodice or yoke of a child's dress. I think that would be a great idea. The stitches shouldn't fray. I mean, you would want the stitches, if you do that, to be into seam lines. You'd want the ends of it to be in a seam line, or you could turn on the minimize speed. You would have a border around it, but you could turn on minimize speed. All right, so now this is stitched down. I don't need this tape here. I am going to put another piece of foam up here at the top of the design. Line up the edge with that stitch line that just stitched. Fold the fabric up. And again, at this point, I do want to iron it, press it in place. The foam is not fusible, okay? It's not fusible, and I like that about the foam. I don't want it to be fusible. I just want it to be, to give it extra structure and some little dimension. I am going to use my pins again to hold this in place. And I'm pinning at the very, very top of the hoop. So I know that my pins will be out of the way. Now this is where those starfish are going to stitch. And that's why I wanted to use this fabric that I kind of thought looked like sand. I am going to be changing the color of thread, because I want it to be like a brown, or not really brown. It's more of a kind of a golden color, I think. Let me get my thread changed. And I'll just go ahead and use this thread that I'm starting the machine with now to finish out the entire design. First, it is going to do that decorative stitch, that basically that line. Lynn wants to know, how do I pin so gracefully? I have done it so many times now that it's kind of like second nature to me. Just make sure your stabilizer is tight. And when I take this off the hoop next, I'll kind of show you how I pin. You really kind of have to push up from the bottom of the hoop. Now the next step that's going to stitch are those little starfish. This bag is going to turn out so, so cute. Go ahead and we're going to stitch the little starfish. So hopefully you can see, other ways and get other ideas of how you can use this, these fills and these motif stitches. Look how cute that little starfish is. And of course, when the bag is, completely done, I will be posting a photo of it so you can get a really good look at it. Also, remember, get hashtag garden into the comments only one time, and it will get you into the drawing for a $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. Looking to see if there are any questions that came through that I may have missed. So how many of you already have Cindy's fills? I know Lori did. And notice that when this motif stitches, it's all in one step. There are no jumps, there are no stops. Susan says the motifs would be cute on ribbon. That is an adorable idea. The possibilities for that are endless. Great idea. Molly's got one, but she's got to buy more. Yeah, get them using that code. Hi, Carrie. Okay, so, whoops. Trying to get a question brought up here. Where do you get the pattern with the design? So these decorative fills and motifs are separate than my In the Hoop zippered bag set. The fills and motifs come from Cynthia's Embroidery, and the In the Hoop zippered bag set comes from embroiderygarden.com. All right, so to move on with the design, again, here are the codes to use on Cindy's site. To get the zippered bag set, you don't need a code. It's already just on sale. I'm going to go ahead and take these pins out up here. Oh, Lynn wanted to show me, wanted me to show how I pin through the stabilizer, etc. So basically, I've got my hand underneath the hoop and I've got my thumb on top. I'm kind of pressing upward a little bit, not, a lot, but I'm pressing upward from the back side. I just insert the pin down. I'm taking my finger on the back side and I'm pushing up the end of that pin and pushing down with my thumb here and just pinning right through it. So that's how I do it. So now look how cute that is. I'm loving that. So we go to the back side of the hoop, using my hoop and press pad, take that tape off. I don't need it anymore. Get this other piece off. And it's time to take this lining piece and fold it up. So now it's time to press. Someone asked if it's easier with the flower head pins. I think that it is easier to pin with the flower head pins. Also, with these flower head pins, let me grab one. If you accidentally stitch through it, and don't ask me how I know, but if you accidentally stitch through it, there's a very good chance the needle just goes through it and nothing happens. But if you use pins, make sure you're always watching and make sure that you always are putting them so that they are, out of the stitch field. I am going to tape that piece of fabric up so I don't have an issue with it. And now, while we're still on the back side, let me grab my little scissors because I like to use these little bitty Kai scissors, curved tip. Remember, I have my hoop and press pad underneath here, and I have to turn my hoop to make it easier for me to cut out this little piece of stabilizer because underneath the stabilizer is the zipper. And I just get my scissor, tip underneath there. And basically I could take my scissors and just glide them along that fabric and get it out of there. Someone asked where I got these fabrics from. These fabrics came from Joann's. And I had them in my stash, and I just thought this would be the perfect lining because it looks like water. And again, I did use, this fabric for the front because, it reminded me of water and they match, but it's not too distracting because I really want that fill to show up. So the stabilizer is removed. Time to go to the front side. We're almost done with the design. We need to unzip the zipper halfway. Remember, I did tape down my pull because I didn't want it flopping around. So now that's unzipped. The next step is to take the next piece of fabric, which is G, place it right side down on top of the hoop. The next thing is piece H. And again, these little tags are dry erase board. They are from laserbeestudio.com. Another piece of foam on top. Now, I've used foam here, and I've used foam, remember, at the top of the zipper and down here at the bottom of the zipper. It's not real thick, but it's getting a little bit thick. So if you need to, go to your machine, and let's go over to my machine. I'm using a Luminaire 3, but let me move the camera a little bit. I'm going to go, I got to do this. I'm going to go, let me see if I can get it in there, into my settings, and I'm going to go to embroidery foot height, which is on page 8, and I'm going to bump it up a little bit. It's at 0.06, and I'm going to do one click. One click is going to be okay. We're going to start to get the bag together. If you want to lower your speed, you can. You don't have to. I'm going to put mine down just because I'm doing a live, and if something's going to happen, it's going to happen when I'm doing a live. So I hit OK, and now I'm going to go back, get my camera in position for you again, and we're going to stitch the next step. Let me get my hoop over here. I'm going to stitch the next step, which is going to stitch that piece of fabric I put down and the foam here at the bottom of the hoop. You know, if you have like one of these little chopsticks, if you find that the foot is dragging or anything, that's when you would know you needed to raise up your foot height. And again, I just raised it up a click and it looks like it's doing great. All right, so next, I'm on the last step of the design. Let's go back to the table. I'm gonna turn my hoop upside down again on top of the hoop and press pad. And we're gonna get the last piece of fabric, which is piece I. And again, these are my little Laser Bee Studio dry erase tags. Reason I like them, they're dry erase. So I can easily erase that off of there. They come with a dry erase marker. I can, you know, if I have a pattern and maybe it's numbered instead of lettered, I could write my numbers on there. Sometimes if, some years I make everyone in the family pajama pants and, you know, you get them all cut out and then they start getting kind of mixed up. So I'll take these little tags and clip them on there and write, you know, front, maybe for the front piece of the pants and medium, like an M for medium. So I know what size it is. So these are really, I think, versatile because you can erase and put something, else on there. So we take the last piece of fabric, right side down, back side the hoop, and let's see, I'm going to tape this down, put some tape in all four corners. Go to the front side, and I am going to use a couple of pins, only because sometimes if you didn't raise your foot up or you have more layers, when it starts coming around, stitching the bag around, you don't want this to shift any. So that's why I like to pin. And again, I'm going to pin through everything, very top of the bag. And let's see, where's one of my other pins? And I'll pin this other side too. And again, it's just due to this foam that I'm really putting these pins in. I'm going to go ahead and pin near the bottom of the hoop also, because again, I'm doing this live. If I start looking at questions and not paying attention, I don't want something to happen. And again, it shows you how easy it is to put these pins in. Again, I'm pushing up from the bottom of the hoop with my finger. And now I got my pins in. So the last step is going to stitch around, and then we're going to be taking it out of the hoop and trimming it and turning it. Let's get this started. And a couple questions coming in. How many of the laser bee tags come in a package? Oh, offhand, I don't know. But I know that you get quite a few of them. It's going to be, you'll have enough to do whatever you want to do. Let's see. Where do I get my tape? So for my tape, I use Transport medical tape. It's a 3M tape. Get it off of Amazon. Get it in a box of 12. This is the 1 inch, but you can see it tears very easily. I like to take it and then tear it into smaller strips. I have a box of the tape that I ordered. Again, I think you get like 12 rolls in there that I have been using since 2017. The tape is still fine. Nothing happens to the tape. So that's a really great investment, I think. Let's see. I saw another question. Oh, here it is. How hard is it going to be to turn with all that bulk? You're going to see how easy it's going to be to turn with this foam in here. I think a lot of people think that foam makes something harder to turn. Actually, it doesn't. So it's going to be very easy to turn. Let's see. So looking at some more questions. I think the flower head pins do work better. We'll grab one again. One thing you need to do though is make sure they are clover flower head pins. I know that there are other companies that make these pins, but there's something about the clover ones, the genuine clover ones, that are just better. I'm going to hold this up there real close. You can see in the flower, see that little like thing in the center, that little ridge or something? That's actually the pin in there. Some of these other brands I've seen, the pin only goes into the flower head maybe halfway or less. I've had nothing but those heads just pop right off. So, make sure you get the genuine ones. So you can see that it's stitched, it's done, time to take it out. Let's get back over to the table. And let me get my pins out. First thing I like to do to reduce some of the bulk is to trim these foam, or if you use batting, you can definitely use batting in these designs. I want to use the foam because I think with the fills, it really adds a lot of dimension and just really looks cool. So I can even take my large scissors, and again, all I'm doing is trimming the foam close to that stitching all the way around. These bags have rounded corners, which I kind of love the rounded corners. And you'll notice I'm not cut. I just kind of take my scissors, get them in there, and just glide them right along that stitch line. You can see how close I can get. These are Kai scissors. I love Kai scissors. So that's the first thing I do is trim the foam or the batting close to the stitching all the way around. Let's get it out of the hoop. Oh, here's a tip. This is the reason I don't take things out of the hoop until I'm absolutely ready. You always want to check the back side to make sure nothing happened, because say something happened, say a corner flipped or something, it's so much easier to fix it while it's still in the hoop. Yeah, we have cameras and we have projectors in some of our machines, but it's easier to do it. So I always check the back side. Cindy, yes, of course you can use tape instead of pins. I just like pins better because it holds everything nice and tight. You better have a really good tape, I think, if you're going to be using foam in a design, to make sure that tape doesn't, come loose or move anyway. So let's go to the back side first, and we're going to find the opening. The opening is down here at the bottom of the bag. And now we're going to start to trim. I always start on either side of the opening. And I am just making a cut to about 1/4 inch to that stitching. The reason I start at the opening is because you have to leave this fabric at the opening longer. You got to have something to turn in. You got to have that lining to turn in to hide your opening. The rest of the bag, I'm going to go around and trim like about 1/4 inch till I get over here to my zipper. See, there's my zipper. I'm not going to cut the ends of my zipper that short. The reason being, have you ever had a bag and you use it, you open it, you close it, and it starts to pull away at the side seams right by that zipper? If you leave the ends of the zipper longer, it's going to, you're not going to have that issue. I am going to cut it down a little bit. You only need it to be about 1/2 inch. And let's just turn around this way. And again, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side where my zipper is. Patty, tin tags will help you, will get you through the majority of projects. If you want more, then buy a second set. They are so handy. So that's a 1/4 inch basically all the way around. I'm rounding those corners. And I got back here to the opening. Turn that down just a bit. What I like to do also at my corners, I want to clip into the corner. I'm just making little cuts. Do not cut into the stitches. I'm just making little cuts. That's going to help relax that fabric so that when you go to turn it, it's going to push those corners out nice and make them look really good. Instead of clipping, you could notch. Let me just make a little notch in this one. See that little kind of triangular shape right there? That's just notching it out a little bit. You can do that or you can clip. Sort of up to you. All right, we're almost ready to turn. And down here at the bottom, where I have my 2 lining pieces, that's where my opening is. That's all I need are these 2 lining pieces to be longer. This behind here, the other fabrics, that other foam stabilizer, I don't need that. That's just going to make my bag be bulky here at the bottom. So I'm going to trim this down to a 1/4 inch. And we're ready to turn it. So what I like to do when I turn something is, start getting my hand in here. I want to go to a far corner. I don't want to, start to turn and try to turn one of these corners right next to my opening. Let me go down here to a far corner and then just start pushing it out. And, this is pretty easy. This foam is very flexible. It's soft. And this foam, the So Any Shape foam, which you can now get, through Embroidery Garden's website, is made for machine embroidery. It's made for quilting. It was designed for that, and I am loving using it in the hoop projects. I also have used this foam in my 5x7 bags. We all know, 5x7 is kind of a smaller hoop. And of course, it's always harder to turn something no matter what it is when you're doing it live. All right, so now I have it turned. First thing I want to do, you're going to notice lining is on both sides of the bag. That's how it's supposed to be. I'm going to use my fingers to get these corners out nice. Also, though, I want to use a tool to push the corners out nice. So let me just grab, I like to use this tool, it's the RNK Precision Turning Tool. And I'm going to get my corners pushed out nice. But look how nice that corner came out. And we've got foam in here. There's actually 2 layers of foam. Get this one pushed out. You take your time and push your corners out nicely. You get this one up here at the top. Just kind of press it. What I like to do at this point too is I like to press my bag. I would take my time and I would use my big iron, but I do like to press on both sides. The opening down here at the bottom, you can use fusible tape, just like turn it under, put your tape on here and close it. Or you can hand sew, up to you, whatever you want to do, but just get it turned under really nice. Then close it however you want to get it closed. I'm not going to take the time to do that today, but you can see how you would close that up. Get your zipper fully opened, and now we turn it again. Carrie loves that turning tool. I do too. Best turning tool ever. And again, we turn it, and we're going to push our corners out. And, look, you got that foam in there, but even with my finger, they're coming out. The corners are coming out well. I am going to take my tool, though, and use them on the corners. Look how cute. I'm not even done, and it's adorable. So, use your tool to push the corners out. And I will tell you a couple of other things that I use to press my bag. I love to use Dime's Totally Tubular Pressing Station. And I like to use Angela Wolf's Clapper. Look how adorable that looks. Isn't that just cute, cute, cute? What do you guys think? So of course, I'm going to give it a nice press, and then I'm going to post a photo of it. But I think it just turned out adorable with those little fish. And I might even go back, I think, and I'm going to add the hot fix crystals like I talked about, just sort of here and there on the waves. I don't know. I think it'll kind of look like bubbles, maybe that the fish is blowing out. But it's just adorable. And of course, the bag is fully lined with no raw edges inside. So, that's how you could take the Embroidery Gardens in the Hoop zippered bag set and do something, neat and creative with it, kind of make it your own. Again, like you can use Cindy's fills in so many different ways. Be sure to join her Facebook group to, see all these projects that people are making using them. Just adorable, adorable stuff. Laserbee Studio joined. Yeah, Laserbee Studio is the one who does the little tags that I showed that I had all my pieces marked with. Kelly, go ahead and put the link to the site in there. Marilyn says the little crystals would be fantastic. I think they would too. They would just be adorable to add those. I hope I have some that are the right size and color that I want. So I hope that you enjoyed this demo. I know it was a little more machine or software specific, but it gives you some ideas of things that you can do. And maybe if you don't have, the products, the software, the machine I have, that you've got some tips and some things that might inspire you to create something. So we're going to pick the winner of the $20 gift card to embroiderygarden.com. So make sure you get #garden into the chat. I'm going to give you, a couple seconds here to get it in. Has to be typed just like this. The symbol hashtag and the word garden, exactly like that. Barb wants to know, can quilting be added to the backside of the bag? Yes, of course. I could have taken, this piece that was for the backside, created a fill, the same exact fill, like I mentioned in the demo, go to the instructions, see how big of a piece you need. I think this particular size bag needs 10 by 10. Take your batting or your foam, your fabric, put it on top, create the fill, take the fill like I did, just make it bigger to fit that piece of fabric, stitch it out, and use that when it comes time to put the back piece on. And you can have a double-sided bag if that's what you want. All right, so let's go and grab the giveaway. Let me get it brought up here. And I got to find where it's at. Here it is. All right, I'm going to share. I'm going to click draw, and it's going to pick someone automatically and randomly. And let's see who the winner is. Cheryl G. Congratulations, Cheryl. Be sure to contact me either, through Facebook or the contact us button on embroiderygarden.com to claim the gift card. Stacy, the design single stitch or triple stitch, these are triple stitched. Head on over to Cindy's site, grab those fills. Again, here are the codes that you need to use for a discount on those collections. Everyone, thank you for joining me. Next month's demo, August demo, I'm going to show you a back to school design. It's going to kind of be a revamp of a design I have on my site. So make sure you like and follow Embroidery Garden's Facebook page to be notified when I go live and do my demos. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.